The next day, Jang Chan left his apartment and went to a forest. He took out a map, held it with both hands, and, while looking at it, began to question which way was the right one. He wasn't sure if he had gotten lost again. At that moment, someone shouted loudly for help. Jang Chan, who was trying to find his way, turned around with a confused look, wondering who was shouting behind him. There was a giant tree on the ground, and beside it, a sword. At the top of the tree, a man with white hair was clinging to a branch. He was asking for help because he was afraid of heights. Jang Chan looked up at the man and remained silent for a moment, thinking. He decided to help him. Extending his hand, he used his ability called Growth of All Things. Vine and several branches emerged from the ground. They advanced towards the man just before he let go of the trunk and fell. The branches wrapped around his body, preventing him from falling. Several seconds later, the man finally landed on the ground. He placed both hands and knees on the ground, panting heavily, and explained to Jang Chan that he had been quite scared. He had only wanted to save a bird's nest. He thought the nest wasn't high, but after climbing, he realized it was much higher than expected. Jang Chan approached him, looking somewhat confused, with a drop of sweat falling from his cheek. Seeing that the man was afraid of heights yet still decided to climb the tree to save a bird's nest, Jang Chan thought this man might be a fool. The man stood up, extending his hand towards Jang Chan with a pleasant smile, thanking him for the rescue. He also asked Jang Chan what he wanted in return. Jang Chan, who was lost, asked if the man knew how to get to Tianjiao camp. The man turned his back on Jang Chan, closed his eyes with a smile, and asked him to follow since he, too, was headed to Tianjiao camp for a task. Jang Chan, feeling relieved, decided to follow him. As they walked, Jang Chan asked the man if he was also a job changer, somewhat confused because the man carried his sword behind his back instead of storing it in his system inventory. The man, walking ahead of Jang Chan, explained that he wasn't a job changer, just an enthusiast who enjoyed practicing swordsmanship. He turned his head towards Jang Chan and with a cheerful smile revealed that when he was young, he lacked the talent for job changing. After failing to change his job, he struggled for 10 years, unable to even afford a bathroom in the city. In his desperation, he ran to the mountains, found a small abandoned cabin, and prepared to hang himself. However, when he glanced to the side, he saw a sword. Seeing that sword rekindled his will to live. Since then, he practiced swordsmanship daily in the mountains, drawing the sword for 20 years and fencing for 30 years. Then one day, he had a revelation. He asked Jang Chan if he thought it was incredible. Jang Chan, still somewhat confused, responded that it was indeed incredible. The man grabbed his sword, looked at the ground, and asked Jang Chan if he wanted to learn how to handle a sword. He knew a special move, but before he could say the name, Jang Chan interrupted and declined. Hearing this, the man put the sword away, closed his eyes, and smiled. Thinking Jang Chan was a bit impatient, he decided to wait until Jang Chan wanted to learn swordsmanship. Jang Chan then looked up at the sky and noticed something surprising. With a cheerful look, he asked the man to look and asked if that wasn't Tianjiao camp in the distance. But to his surprise, the man had disappeared. Jang Chan looked around, confused, and thought to himself that the man was strange. At the same time, several helicopters were flying over Tianjiao camp. At the entrance, a receptionist stood in front of a long line of people, asking all the geniuses entering the camp to line up for registration. Each one would receive an identification bracelet that could not be removed unless they were eliminated. A man with black hair approached the entrance, and later, it was Jang Chen's turn. He received the identification bracelet and put it on his wrist. In this camp, Mu Hanqiu and Luo Sandao were also present. They both brought their hands to their chests and gazed lovingly at Jang Chan, blushing as they noticed he had also come to the camp. For Mu Hanqiu, Jang Chan was her master, and for Luo Sandao, he was her benefactor. Jang Chan felt somewhat confused. Being a benefactor was fine, but being Mu Hanqiu's master? That felt strange. The two women soon began to argue, their looks turning aggressive as they insulted each other. Luo Sandao didn't understand why Mu Hanqiu was calling Jang Chan love, and advised her to read fewer romance novels to avoid senseless fantasies. Mu Hanqiu responded that now she truly understood what love was, claiming Luo Sandao was nothing in comparison. While they fought, Little Nine manifested herself. She took out a piece of watermelon, closed her eyes, and, while eating, explained to Jang Chan that she was enjoying watching the two women fight. Jang Chan remained silent, overwhelmed by the situation. Luo Sandao then pointed and asked why she was so close to Jang Chan without any reason. Mu Hanqiu, mocking Luo Sandao, grabbed Jang Chen's arm and asked her to stop being narcissistic, claiming Jang Chan had the final say. Jang Chan said nothing, while Luo Sandao mockingly reminded Mu Hanxiu that she had already predicted this situation long ago. At that moment, a loud bang was heard nearby. Everyone turned in the direction of the sound and saw a curtain of smoke. As the smoke began to clear, Jang Chan wondered what was happening. Luo Sandao took a closer look and realized someone was fighting. A man at the camp entrance, rolling up his sleeves and clenching his teeth with an aggressive look, asked who was fighting. This man, a patrol instructor, hadn't even entered the camp yet and was already involved in a fight. Jang Chen, observing him closely, realized this instructor had third-level strength. However, just as the instructor approached the fight, someone landed a strong punch to his stomach, sending him flying backward. Jang Chan was shocked. The instructor, now on the ground, bleeding, ordered the others to notify the superiors, as things were getting out of control. Luo Sandao was speechless, seeing that a third-level master had been so easily overpowered. With a serious look, Mu Hanxiu revealed that the attackers were from Jiangnan's war zone. Tang Ying, a woman with red eyes dressed in assassin's clothes, stood silently. She was an assassin from Tianji Tower, known for her terrifying strength. Recently, she had assassinated a high-level master from the Sakura Empire. Another man with red hair, surrounded by powerful energy, appeared, smiling. His name was Bai Feng, also called the Little Killer God, a disciple of the East China Sea Commander. Though highly talented, Bai Feng had psychological problems, often losing control and turning into a demon. A third man, with blue hair, raised his sword to the sky and smiled at Jiang Chun. His name was Xiao Beihan, a Qinglian sword immortal professional. His grandfather was one of the 7 guardians of Great Xia, and his strength was comparable to a divine-level profession. Luo Sandao, upon seeing Xiao Beihan, revealed with a terrified gaze that his epic sword had been stolen from her house. Jiang Chun looked calmly at Xiao Beihan and realized that he was indeed a prodigy, with strength far surpassing that of Xiao Yuanwu, Xiao Beihan's brother. In the middle of all this, a shirtless man with orange hair stood up in an offensive stance, preparing to counterattack as the smoke began to clear. With a murderous look, he clenched his fist tightly, and using all his strength, gave a strong punch to the ground, shattering it into pieces. He was an invincible descendant. His name was Jiang Wushuang. It was said that he had 3 professions, all of them unique and hidden. He was exceptionally strong, as the 3 others together could not defeat him. Mu Hanxiu and Luo Sandao stared at Jiang Wushuang in disbelief. Even Jiang Chen himself was shocked, as Jiang Wushuang was 3rd on the summer ranking list. Jiang Chan wasn't sure if his 9 miasma wings would be able to handle this opponent. At that moment, Xiao Beihan gathered momentum, leaped up, gripped his sword with both hands, and prepared to strike. Jiang Chen looked up and realized the situation wasn't good. Xiao Beihan landed, slamming the sword into the ground, causing it to crack. He was very close to Luo Sandao, but luckily, Jiang Chen grabbed her by the waist and dodged the attack. Xiao Beihan stared at Jiang Wushuang with a serious expression and praised him, acknowledging that his wind fist was very powerful. Jiang Chen, meanwhile, caught Xiao Beihan's attention. Xiao Beihan began to sheath his sword, but upon noticing Jiang Chen, he was somewhat surprised. He had heard rumors that Jiang Chen had been the one who killed Xiao Yuanwu. Xiao Beihan drew his sword once again, pointing the tip towards Jiang Chen. His body radiated a powerful aura as he stared intently at Jiang Chen. Despite disliking the now-dead Xiao Yuanwu, Xiao Beihan was determined to kill Jiang Chen today. Originally, Xiao Beihan had planned to deal with Jiang Wushuang first, then take care of someone he viewed as insignificant like Jiang Chen. But since Jiang Chen was right there, he decided to start with him. Jiang Chen wasn't intimidated. He extended his hand to the side, summoning Little Nine's poisonous mist. With a look full of determination, he taunted Xiao Beihan, saying that although their strengths differed, the Xiao family was rotten to its core. Xiao Beihan, unfazed, extended his sword to one side and began approaching Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen prepared to fight, extending both hands to his sides. Although he had promised Ji Gang, head of the Night Watch, that he wouldn't reveal his true power, the situation left him with no choice. Luo Sandao, standing behind them, remained silent. Just as the battle was about to begin, a powerful slash tore through the ground, splitting it in 2. The supervisor commanded everyone to step aside, declaring that the Grand Instructor, known as the Heavenly Blade King Gu Kai Tian, had arrived. Seeing this, both Jiang Chen and Xiao Beihan deactivated their abilities. They glanced toward the source of the attack, wondering who this Heavenly Blade King was. To Jang Chan's astonishment, the instructor was none other than the old man he had saved from the tree earlier. Heavenly Blade King raised his sword and, with a stern expression, warned that anyone causing trouble before the camp began would have to face his blade. Jang Chan was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe that the eccentric old man he'd encountered on the way to Tianjiao camp was the famous Heavenly Blade King. With just one swing of his sword, the old man had immobilized the four great geniuses. Jang Chan also feared that Little Nine's insects might have been destroyed by the shockwave from the sword energy. After launching the attack, the old man grabbed the sword's hilt with one hand, began to sheath it, and stared intently at Jiang Wushuang and Xiao Beihan. One of the men standing behind him was Vice Commander Yang Guang. With a calm look, he informed everyone that all 300 geniuses were present and asked them to prepare for the opening ceremony. The old man sheathed his sword and began walking towards the stage. The people present at the camp started conversing among themselves. Some had heard that there were many camps in the Jiangnan area, but none had ever had a king-level figure in charge. For them, this was terrifying, as even standing dozens of meters back, the king of the celestial sword could kill them with a single move. One person explained that this was strange, since it was said that the old master had been living in seclusion. They didn't know why he had come out now. Some had overheard instructors discussing that the old master might be seeking to recruit a disciple. If that was the case, they should perform well, though many new people like them should stop dreaming about it, because if he were recruiting, he would only choose the best. Mu Hanxiu stared at the old man, shocked to see that the Heavenly Blade King had arrived. Tang Ying, who was standing next to her, looked at the old man with surprise and excitement, having finally met the living legend in person. Xiao Beihan stared at the old man with determination, planning to defeat Jiang Wushuang once the camp began to leave a good impression on the old master. Jiang Wushuang cracked his fingers, feeling excited as he had thought they wouldn't be able to invite the old man. He decided to make him his master. Mu Hanxiu clenched her fists tightly, bringing them close to her face, and was left open-mouthed and astonished. Jang Chan started pointing at the old man with a confused look and asked Luo Sandao if they recognized the powerful old master. She got very excited, approached Jiang Chun, clenched her fist, and with a joyful look, responded affirmatively. She had heard about his legend since she was young and began recalling the old man's incredible feats. One day, a powerful red dragon appeared, but the old man jumped onto its head and, using all his strength, drove his sword into its skull, causing the dragon to scream in pain. She explained that although the old man was not an awakener, he could suppress a group of 7th Transfer Seal Kings and was considered number 1 under the 8th Transfer Professionals. His skills were even comparable to those of an 8th Transfer Professionals. She also mentioned that he once killed a dragon with a single blow. Mu Hanxiu put her hand under her chin, closed her eyes, and began to think. She explained that although both were at the level of a Seal King, the Heavenly Blade King was the most respected figure by her grandfather. Her grandfather had once asked her to become his disciple, but she had been rejected. At first, she was very frustrated, but later heard that many descendants of the 8th Transfer Professionals and other geniuses had also been rejected. Jang Chun looked at the old man with a confused expression and asked if it was very difficult to become his disciple. Mu Hanxiu approached Jiang Chen with a sincere look and asked if he was joking. As far as she knew, Jiang Wushuang and the others had been rejected by the sword god before. Jiang Wushuang had seen Jiang Chun and the rest of their abilities, making it unimaginable how difficult it was to become the old man's disciple. Upon hearing this, Jiang Chun looked at her with a shocked expression, beginning to wonder if it was really that difficult to become the old man's disciple. Luo Sandao approached them, pointed towards the sky, and with a serious look, explained that the old master had accepted only 2 disciples in his entire life, and that had been more than 20 years ago. Jiang Chan began to recall how the old man had been hugging the tree like a lunatic and remembered asking him if he was willing to learn from him. Jiang Chan closed his eyes, questioning whether the strange old man who climbed trees was truly the Heavenly Blade King everyone was talking about. With a drop of sweat falling from his cheek, he forced a smile and said he now understood everything. The old man got on stage and cleared his throat to get everyone's attention. With a serious look, he introduced himself as Gu Kai Tian, the chief instructor of Tianjiao camp. He put both hands on the table and reminded everyone that the Tianjiao camp in their Jiangnan area had been performing below average in recent years because the fights here were just a farce. If one did not dare to give it their all, they would end up dead and without burial in a real battlefield with real dangers. He revealed that there were more and more monsters in this world. He grabbed the microphone tightly and, with a smile, told them that they needed more capable geniuses. Therefore, to better showcase and unleash their abilities and make a better selection, he had established a new rule for the Tianjiao camp in the Jiangnan area, which he called the death quota. Upon hearing this, Yang Guang, who was standing behind him, was shocked and full of fear. He tried to interrupt Gu Kai Tian and stop him, but Gu Kai Tian put his hand in front of him, indicating that he should remain silent. With a smile, Gu Kai Tian explained that he had the final say and would take full responsibility if anything happened. Yang Guang started sweating profusely and, with a confused look, wondered about the death rate Gu Kai Tian was talking about. His superiors had not mentioned this before, and there had never been a death quota in the history of Tianjiao camp. There were many powerful geniuses present, so Yang Guang wasn't sure if this would create chaos. Gu Kai Tian took the microphone, brought it close to his mouth, and with a serious look, told them that today 10 of them would die in each round of the tests. He added that if anyone wanted to withdraw, they could do so now. Many participants panicked. A boy looked at his friend with fear and explained that, although terrible, he couldn't withdraw because otherwise, his entire family would be shamed. His friend swallowed hard and, with a trembling voice, said he didn't want to die. Zhang Wushuang, standing in front of them with crossed arms, remained calm and began to smile, thinking that this was expected from the senior Heavenly Blade King. According to him, the Tianjiao camp in Jiangnan should have done this years ago. Xiao Beihan turned his head, stared at Jang Chan, and with a smile, concluded that this rule had been made especially for him. When the camp started later, he would be able to fulfill 2 of the old master's quotas. Jang Chan started looking at Xiao Beihan and wondered what he was plotting. With a calm look, he concluded that even if the conflict escalated later and he had to kill Xiao Beihan, Ji Gang and the others wouldn't have to worry too much. Several minutes passed, and no one withdrew. Seeing this, Gu Kai Tian, holding the microphone in one hand and placing his other hand on his waist, started smiling, as it seemed everyone had some pride. Behind him stood the 4 vice commanders. Gu Kai Tian extended his hand to one side and, with a shout, announced that the entrance evaluation to the camp had officially begun. There were 300 people in the first round. Half of them would be eliminated. He grabbed the hilt of his sword and, while unsheathing it, explained that within the camp, 150 advancement flags had been randomly hidden. He added that he didn't care what methods they used to get the flags. The round would end at dawn on the second day, and those who had the flags would advance to the next round. He unsheathed his sword, pointed its blade at them, and with eyes shining, asked them to fight confidently and kill confidently. They could fight alone or form alliances, and they were even allowed to destroy the entire camp if they wished. In short, he wanted to see their bloodlust. After saying this, he raised the sword to the sky and gave everyone the order to disperse as the test began. Upon hearing his order, everyone started running. Some knew that with their current skills, the best method was to find flags, hide, and avoid ruthless people, as this was the safest way to advance to the next round. While everyone was running, Xiao Beihan began to smile as his body was surrounded by a powerful blue energy. He unsheathed his sword, extended it to one side, and started walking toward Jang Chan. Little by little, he got closer. Jang Chan, who was standing next to Xiao and Luo Sandao, remained silent. Jang Chan extended his hands to the sides and gave the order to look for nearby advanced flags since he would take care of Xiao Beihan. Xiao, with a panicked look, asked him if he was sure, but before she could finish her sentence, Jang Chan adopted a defensive pose and told her that it was an order. Hearing this, Xiao and Luo Sandao turned their backs on him and started running. As Xiao Beihan's body glowed with powerful blue mana, he began to laugh, mocking Jang Chan by asking if a rookie like him, who hadn't even made a second transfer, wanted to play the hero. Jang Chan extended his hand to one side, causing it to release the poisonous mist of Little Nine, his summoned pet. Although Xiao Beihan's sword energy was truly astonishing, it was much inferior compared to Xiao Yuanwu's. Even though Jang Chan had grown stronger, he wasn't sure he could deal with Xiao Beihan using only the poison without exposing Little Nine's true identity as the mother of Abyssal 9 miasma wing insects, a taboo species. With a calm look, Jang Chan told Xiao Beihan to stop talking nonsense. Xiao Beihan, realizing he wouldn't waste more words on a dead man, used all his strength and launched a powerful slash at Jang Chan. Surrounded by Little Nine's poisonous mist, Jang Chan prepared to defend. Just before Xiao Beihan's attack could reach him, someone intervened. Small knives shattered Xiao Beihan's attack into pieces. The person responsible was none other than Tang Ying, an assassin from Tianji Tower. Holding more knives in her hands, she glared at Xiao Beihan with anger. Xiao Beihan, holding his sword, turned to her with a serious expression and asked what she was doing. Jang Chan, surprised, realized that this must be Tang Ying, the female assassin. Tang Ying put her hands on her hips and shouted at Xiao Beihan, asking if he had forgotten their agreement with Bai Feng, the little killer god. They had agreed to kill Wu Shuang once the camp started. Yet Xiao Beihan kept getting sidetracked by insignificant matters. She questioned whether Xiao Beihan was deliberately making excuses because he was afraid of Wu Shuang. Xiao Beihan clenched his fist in anger, denying that he was afraid. Both turned their backs on Jang Chan and started walking toward the area where Wu Shuang was. Furious, Xiao Beihan demanded to know where Wu Shuang was, deciding to deal with him first before taking care of what he considered trash. Tang Ying pointed toward the forest and explained that Wang had headed there, with Bai Feng chasing him. Jang Chan deactivated Little Nine's poisonous mist and felt relieved as things had taken an unexpected turn. He didn't know Tang Ying, but it was clear she was intentionally helping him. As they moved away, Tang Ying turned back, put her finger to her lips, and winked at Jang Chan. It confirmed his suspicions, though he still didn't understand why she was helping him. She looked down sadly, thinking of her aunt, Tang Jin, who had asked her to secretly take care of Jiang Chen in the Tianjiao camp. However, with her current abilities, she couldn't fight Xiao Beihan directly. She could only use Wang's name to delay his movements. At that moment, a man with black hair, carrying a bow and several flags in his hands, approached Xiao Beihan, knelt before him, and declared that his father was a subordinate of Xiao Beihan's grandfather. He offered 3 advancement flags as a sign of loyalty. This man was none other than Huang Yongchao, a venerable descendant of the 6th transfer. Xiao Beihan approached him and, with a serious expression, told him that he didn't need the flags. If Huang Yongchao truly wanted to show loyalty, he could assist him with something else. Tang Ying crossed her arms and remained silent. Huang Yongchao, still kneeling, swore his utmost loyalty, but Tang Ying was worried. Now Jiang Chan would have to fend for himself, but she hoped Mu Hanxiu and Luo Sandao could protect him. Meanwhile, Luo Sandao had obtained 2 advancement flags. She smiled joyfully, revealing the flags to Jiang Chen. She placed them on the table in front of him. Jiang Chen, with one hand on his waist, calmly instructed them both to take the flags first while he went to check something elsewhere. Luo Sandao, resting her hands on the flags, insisted that they would help him find whatever he needed together. Mu Hanxiu, standing beside her, crossed her arms and remained silent. Suddenly, an arrow was fired toward them at great speed. Sensing the danger, Jiang Chun quickly flipped the table into the air, blocking the arrow, which shattered the table into pieces. Luo Sandao panicked, hiding behind Jiang Chun and clutching his arm in fear. Mu Hanxiu, daggers in hand, adopted a defensive stance. The attacker was Huang Yongchao, an extreme flame archer professional from the Chasing Sun, under the command of Xiao Beihan. Huang Yongchao, aiming at Jiang Chun, revealed that he didn't want the flags but intended to take Jiang Chen's life. As he drew his bow, his arrow emitted powerful energy. Recognizing Huang Yongchao, Luo Sandao told Jiang Chun that he was a level 39 Sun Chaser Extreme Archer, a hidden profession. His father, a venerable 6th transfer, served the Empire. The arrow grew larger, surrounded by powerful energy, as it advanced toward Jiang Chun. Deciding to act, Jiang Chun ordered the others to step aside. His eyes shone as he jumped, releasing Little Nine's poisonous mist to counter the arrow. Jiang Chin, with an angry look, muttered that while he could tolerate much, if they wanted to kill him, they shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. After all, someone had to fulfill the old master's death quota. Luo Sandao, hiding behind Jiang Chun, clutched her chest in fear. Mu Hanxiu, still holding her daggers, stared at Jiang Chan in surprise, wondering what he planned to do next. Jiang Chen released Little Nine's poisonous mist toward Huang Yongchao, not only blocking the attack but shattering the arrow. The mist advanced rapidly toward Huang Yongchao, turning the tide of the battle. While Huang Yongchao was flying in the air, the poisonous mist approached him. Holding his bow with one hand, he looked around. Upon seeing the poison, he panicked since he had been told that Jiang Chun was of the creation class. Fear flashed across his face, and he called out to the others, urging them not to hide and to attack together. Before he could finish speaking, Little Nine's poisonous mist reached him, corroding his body and tearing him to pieces. Screams of agony echoed as the mist grew larger, and the insects began devouring his flesh. His companions, terrified, turned their backs and fled. They didn't want to fight against someone who had awakened the hidden poison class. If even a long-range shooter like Huang Yongchao couldn't handle him, they had no chance, especially those in close combat roles. They felt fortunate to have escaped in time, knowing they'd be nothing more than cannon fodder otherwise. The insects continued devouring Huang Yongchao's body, while Jang Chan, standing nearby, controlled the swarm. In the observation room, Vice Commander Yang Guang and Heavenly Blade King Gu Kai Tian watched the events unfold through the camp's cameras. Gu Kai Tian observed Jang Chan with interest and couldn't help but praise him. Not only does he possess the creation class, but he also wields poison with great mastery, he remarked. Yang Guang, standing behind him, was speechless. He wondered how Jang Chan, a seemingly ordinary creation class professional, could kill someone as strong as Huang Yongchao, a second transformation product. For Yang Guang, Jang Chan was a mystery. He couldn't fathom why Chujiang City's Night Watch hadn't reported anything about this prodigy. While deep in thought, Gu Kai Tian broke his silence and turned toward him, his expression serious. Inform the others and bring the great masters of the spatial system. This is an emergency, and we need to prepare for immediate transfer to prevent prodigies from killing too many people. Yang Guang snapped out of his daze, saluted, and hurried off. As he ran, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The elder had given him permission to act quickly, but the consequences of a massacre among these prodigies could be unimaginable. Just as he reached the exit, Gu Kai Tian called out again, making Yang Guang stop and turn around, worried that the elder had changed his mind. With a thoughtful expression, Gu Kai Tian instructed him to bring 10 third-level ferocious beasts and release them separately. He also ordered that advanced flags be placed on the beasts. Yang Guang gave another salute, acknowledging the order. Although confused by the elder's decision, he was impressed. The elder's strategy was clear. Let the beasts fight for the advanced flags first, minimizing harm to the participants. Meanwhile, Tang Ying, Bai Feng, and Xiao Beihan surrounded Jiang Wushuang. The three drew their weapons, ready to attack. On the other side, Jiang Wushuang crossed his arms, observing the situation calmly. While Bai Feng had been fighting for several minutes and was growing tired, a wound on his chest causing him to breathe heavily. Despite his exhaustion, he stood his ground. Jiang Wushuang taunted them, mocking their attempt to defeat him with superior numbers. Xiao Beihan gripped his sword, the blade emitting a powerful blue energy. He stared intently at Jiang Wushuang, replying, "Though it's dishonorable to fight with numbers, I can't pass up the chance to battle someone who isn't boring." Just as they were about to clash, the camp's loudspeaker announced that Huang Yongchao had been eliminated by Jang Chan. Everyone froze in shock, unable to believe Jang Chan had made the first kill. Jiang Wushuang remained calm. Xiao Beihan, with a worried look, thought to himself, while not the strongest, was among the top 50 in the Tianjiao camp. He was far stronger than Xiao Yuanwu, and yet he had been killed in the blink of an eye. Tang Ying, holding several sharp knives between her fingers, couldn't hide her fear. Her aunt Tang Jin had told her that Jang Chan was only level 26 in the creation class. She couldn't understand how someone at level 26 support class could instantly kill a level 39 combat class fighter. Not even she, an assassin, could have killed Huang Yongchao so quickly. On the other hand, Bai Feng smiled, looking towards the sky. This Tianjiao camp is full of hidden talents, he mused. Jiang Wushuang, bringing his hand to his face, smiled, asking the others if they weren't planning to face an expert like Jang Chan. Ignoring him, they prepared for their next move, but before they could strike, another announcement came over the loudspeaker. The camp will now release 10 peak, third-tier ferocious beasts. Each will have an advancement flag. Whoever possesses the advancement flag will gain extra points in the ranking. The top 10 will receive rewards, with first place earning 100 million. Upon hearing this, Xiao Beihan and the others immediately jumped back, distancing themselves from the area. Jiang Wushuang, still with his arms crossed, smiled. Once they left, he stood still, thinking that Heavenly Blade King Gu Kai Tian had just given them new toys to play with. This is fine, he thought, deciding to compete for the Qingyun flags. Jiang Chan, meanwhile, looked to one side and couldn't help but be surprised. They had just entered the camp, and now the first place reward was 100 million. To him, this prodigy camp was too generous. If he took first place and obtained the resources, his insects would be able to reproduce faster. Just then, something giant began falling from the sky. Jang Chan, not far away, went on alert, wondering what it was. A giant mutant beast in the shape of a wolf landed nearby. Luo Sandao, who stood next to him, explained that the first ferocious beast had fallen beside them. Jang Chan stared at the beast with a confused expression, realizing it was a peak third-tier beast. Xiao, nearby, panicked and warned everyone to be careful. This beast's strength is equivalent to a level 90 awakened, she said, as the beast slowly began to stand. While little by little, the beast was getting to its feet and regaining consciousness, Jang Chan began to advance towards it, preparing to attack. His hands started releasing little 9 poisonous mist as he decided to take advantage of the situation and asked the others to move away. He readied his strike, but at that moment, someone launched a powerful slash toward him. Jang Chan reacted in time, jumping and dodging the attack at the last second. Confusion clouded his mind as he didn't know who had launched the attack. Seconds later, he landed on the ground, clenched his fist tightly, and began to wonder what was happening. The person who had launched the attack was Xiao. He was standing on top of the beast's head, holding his sword with one hand, and stared at Jang Chan with a smile. Xiao thought that not only had Jang Chan killed Huang Yongchao in a second, but now he dared to steal the advancement flag. Jang Chan extended his hand toward Xiao, releasing Little Nine's poisonous mist, and asked if he was really going to fight. "Stop with all this nonsense. If you want to fight, I will give you a fight," Jang Chan said. Xiao jumped and used the technique called Heaven and Earth Wind Dragon Slash, launching a powerful slash that began destroying everything in its path. His attack collided with Jang Chin's, causing the poisonous mist to start dissipating. Xiao positioned himself on top of the beast's head, and with his sword surrounded by a powerful energy, he thought it was no wonder Jang Chan was so arrogant. He had a second hidden poison type. The poison type was difficult to handle, but in front of his sword's wind energy, it was nothing. Xiao, standing nearby, clashed her fist against her palm and with a serious look, thought that Jang Chan was in danger since wind could overpower and defeat poison types. She considered helping him immediately, but Luo Sandao, who was next to her, gave her a surprised look and explained that Jang Chen's poison wasn't ordinary. If they tried to help, they would only cause more problems. Jang Chen adopted an offensive stance, his body surrounded by poison, as he stared intently at Xiao. Deciding it was time to end the battle, he used the technique called Poisonous Mist Dragon, summoning a giant dragon made of poison. The dragon opened its mouth, ready to attack. Seeing the size of the dragon, Xiao panicked, realizing this wasn't good. He decided not to stand idle and grabbed his sword firmly. Bringing his fingers close to the blade, he realized the poisonous mist wouldn't disperse with a single strike. So, he prepared to absorb it. As the poison dragon prepared to attack, Xiao extended his sword toward the sky and used the forbidden technique, Azure Lotus Sword Immortal, causing a giant flower to appear behind him. The flower began absorbing the poison dragon's mist. With confidence, Xiao taunted, saying that his sword's energy would consume all of Jang Chen's poisonous mist. However, Jang Chen's eyes shone with amusement, and he smiled. "Are you serious?" he asked. With the sword energy blocking the view, Jang Chen found it even easier to strike. Little Nine manifested herself, closed her eyes, and began consuming the energy Xiao had created. The sword energy was incredibly delicious for her, and thanks to this, Jang Chen gained 2,000 devouring value points. Jang Chen looked at Little Nine in surprise, realizing she was eating the entire flower. Reaching out his hand toward the sky, the flower that Xiao had created shattered into pieces, releasing more poisonous mist. The mist attacked Xiao, throwing his body backward and slamming him into the ground. He screamed in pain as the poison coursed through his body. Jang Chen clenched his fists tightly. Now that Little Nine had consumed the energy of the flower, the poison dragon had grown even larger and more terrifying. Xiao, on the ground, gripped his sword and couldn't believe what had just happened. He didn't know what kind of poison could annihilate his sword's energy. Jang Chen then launched another attack using the poison dragon. Just before the dragon could hit Xiao, he hugged himself and activated a life gem, causing a protective barrier to form around him. Xiao stood up, sword in hand, and seeing that Jang Chen's poison couldn't break through the life gem's shield, he taunted Jang Chen that he is doomed to die. Jang Chen looked at the shield and thought to himself that the Xiao family truly had second chances. But it was a pity because in this battlefield, there were cameras everywhere, and Jang Chen couldn't let the insects reveal their true form. Jang Chen turned his head towards Luo Sandao and, with a calm expression, asked if she could create an opaque earth shield to cover the entire area. She clenched her fists tightly and said she would try. Luo Sandao extended her hands towards the sky, releasing her energy and using the technique Earth's Eternal Shield. A shield formed around the battlefield. Xiao Beihan, looking towards the sky with a confused expression, wondered what Jang Chan was planning. Meanwhile, Luo's Sandow collapsed, panting heavily as the energy drain from creating the shield took its toll. Jiang Qin, with Little Nine's poisonous mist still surrounding him, stared at Xiao Beihan and asked, "Can you guess how Xiao Yuanwu died?"